Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about a topic that affects all of us in ways we might not even realize. Globalization. It is a word we hear often and a process we live through daily. Globalization, in essence, means the increase of interdependence of the world's economies, societies, and cultures. It is driven by the removal of protectionist policies and the promotion of free trade, along with the rise of multinational corporations. While globalization has so many benefits, and if I start listing them, I might not be able to stop, it does have a critical aspect that often goes unnoticed: the erosion of cultural identity. Let's begin with a simple yet a powerful example. Imagine stepping out of an airport in Thailand, for instance, a land that is known for its rich traditions and its unique identity. What do you see across the street? A McDonald's or perhaps a Starbucks. These symbols of Western consumerism highlight an uncomfortable reality. Globalization is shaping the reality, the world, into a single marketplace, but it's doing so at the expense of local traditions and customs. To us, the younger generation, it might not appear as an issue, as social media, Hollywood movies, and influencers have normalized the global appeal of Western goods and lifestyles. They've created a high demand for products and practices that are reshaping societies. The allure of Western goods has grown so powerful that it comes at the cost and overshadows our local traditions and customs. To us, this isn't an issue, but to the older generation that was grown and raised on traditions and cultural customs, it does appear as more than just economic integration. They see it as a cultural revolution, as it's an exportation of a dominant culture, primarily Western consumerism, to every corner of the globe. Let's take Japan as an example. The Japanese people have traditionally embraced healthy living. Their philosophy of hadah, which encourages stopping eating when one is 80% full, has contributed to Japan having one of the highest life expectancies in the world. But the infiltration of Western fast food has introduced a new mindset, one that prioritizes the convenience over health. And today, obesity is becoming a growing concern in a country once celebrated for its wellness practices. However, this is not just about food. There's also the Japanese tradition of shirin-yoku, or also known as forest bathing, which promotes emotional peace and mental clarity through time spent in nature. But as global capitalism exports the idea of longer working hours and increased productivity, which needs to be met, practices like Shirin-yoku, there's simply no time for them, and they're being forgotten, they're fading. Ironically, as such practices are fading, we forget about our mental health. Mental health issues rise, such as anxiety and depression, and also severe stress levels. This actually causes less economic growth, and now tech corporations and huge businesses, they pay attention to it. They're increasing break times, and they're increasing plantations into offices, and now they're advocating for employee well-being. While this is such a big step forward, it does raise a troubling question. Why do we need multinationals to validate the value of such traditions before we're capable of embracing them ourselves? This leads to a crucial point. Societies are beginning to value their own traditions only when large corporations deem to them beneficial. This shift in culture valuation is dangerous, as it reduces the richness of human traditions to a commodity, something that is being judged by its utility rather than its historical value. Let's consider another example, the African tradition of oral storytelling. This practice not only preserves history, but also promotes family bonds and promotes values like love, respect, and monogamy within family members. Families gather to share stories, fostering unity and understanding. So is it a coincidence that divorce rates in African society are significantly lower than in Western countries like the United States? Perhaps not, as storytelling, just for instance, reinforces the importance of familial relationships, whereas in the West, with its culture of individualism, they're struggling to maintain that at times. So as globalization grows, such traditions they risk being forgotten, replaced by the homogenized culture of consumerism. So what can we do? How do we preserve cultural identity in an increasingly globalized world? The answer lies in understanding and valuing our own traditions for what they truly are, not because they're profitable, and not because they're endorsed by corporations, because they're part of our history and who we are. We must actively explore and incorporate traditional customs into our modern lives. For instance, we can implement practices like Shirin-yoku and take some time to relax and take away from the stress and to just take a walk in the forest, or bring in traditions like African storytelling and implement it into communities and schools to make sure that the younger generation conveys the deepness that it brings. And passes it on to the future generations. We can also remember the philosophies like hadah and apply them to our approach to health and to well-being. It is also essential that we hold these corporations accountable. As they expand globally, they must respect and preserve the cultural landscapes they enter. Multinationals should not be agents of cultural erasure, but rather partners in celebrating our diversity. In conclusion, globalization is a powerful force that has the potential to unite us, but must not come at the cost of our cultural identity. The world is richer for its diversity, and it's the diversity we must fight to protect. Let us not wait for multinationals to validate our traditions. Let us not measure their worth in terms of profitability or utility. Instead, let us embrace them as a testament to the beauty and resilience of human culture. If we do this, we can create a future that is not only globalized, but is also deeply rooted with the richness of our shared humanity. A world where traditions coexist with progress and where cultures thrive and not fade. Thank you.